Okay, so here we are. I'm getting ready to install my Starlink. Camera's a little dirty. And I pre-did a bunch of stuff. I drilled holes. I made some access panels in one of the bedrooms and drilled some holes in the floor behind the wall and in the ceiling behind the wall. And made a cable pathway from the basement where my Starlink router is going to live to the attic. Now, I went up on the roof and did a little bit of poking around, seeing where would be a good spot. The Starlink app has an obstruction feature, so you can look for different obstructions and kind of find out where you want to put your Starlink at. So I went up on the roof, found a good spot. I'll show everybody where it's at. Okay, so I'm in the backyard now. This is the north-facing area. As you can see, there's a bunch of trees up there, and Starlink has to face north. So I am going to put it up on the roof, and if you can see behind me, there's a chimney. And so where the cable pathway is coming, it's coming from down here in the bottom, going up to that room, and then up to the attic there. So I want to get it as close to there as possible. So what I think I'm going to do is right up on the top here between those two exhaust pipes, I'm going to put the Starlink dish up there. I'm going to mount the dish up there. And what that'll be able to do is I'll be able to have the dish cable come down, and I'll either come out here to those that little vent there, or into the front. I haven't decided which one yet. Thinking maybe the side there, because there's another vent there, but this side looks like it might be a little bit easier to hit. So I'll just go along the roof, leave a little bit of dip in the cable, so if it gets any rain or anything on it, the cable will drip down instead of dripping into the attic, so to speak. But the hard part is I'm gonna have to come from the inside, because the way the cable's constructed, there's a big 90-degree hook on one side, the inside part, and the outside part is straight. So the part that goes into the dish is straight. So I have to pull the cable from the inside out. So now that I know where I'm gonna mount my Starlink and I have my pathway, all I gotta do is do the darn thing. All right, so I'm here. Henry's helping me out. He's all excited. I grabbed some tools from my toolkit, and first thing I need is my cable puller. I use a Fat Max. It goes in the wall. And come on in. What this is going to do is I'm going to put it down the wall. I've already got the string pulled up from the basement to the room that I'm going into. It's actually my closet. It's a bedroom I turned into a closet. So I'm going to put the cable puller down the wall and get the cable up the wall. Let's see what we're talking about here. So in this room, cut an access panel there, and I got a blank plate to put on that. And I drilled down into the floor. Let's see if I can grab a flashlight. I drilled into the floor there. And that hole goes all the way to the basement. So then we'll go up the wall here with our cable. And there you can see I drilled into the attic. And I've just got to put the cable up there, and then I'll pull it into the attic. So let me get the cable pulled up the wall here, and it shouldn't take very long. Using my handy dandy Fat Max. I've been using a Fat Max to pull through walls for many years. It's Fat Max stays really taut all the way out, and you can stick it down the wall. And I use a broken one, because it doesn't have the little end on it. So it just goes down the wall, kind of goes through insulation, all that other happy goodness. The blade on the Fat Max is nice and stiff, so it'll push through a lot of this stuff. My house is pretty heavily insulated, so it might take a minute here. You could use a push rod for this too, or a cable tongue, or there's any number of devices you can use to get down the wall. My weapon of choice is a Fat Max. some obstruction in the wall there. Might end up using a magnet. Oh, there we go. I can pull this thing out. Also, the nice thing about using tape measures, I can tell how deep I am in the wall. So right now I'm about 3.5 feet in the wall. About 5 feet down. It's getting really easy, so it's probably getting close to the bottom there. Oh, here it is. Right there is my fat max. So I just want to take the end of this pull string, tape it right to the fat max, and watch what happens. Pull string. Probably should be wearing gloves, some safety goggles, but you know what? It's my house. Cobbler's kids have the worst shoes, right? All right, so let's get this pull string up here. Now the pull string is up the wall. I'm going to leave a little bit out down there so I can pull from the bottom. Next thing I'm going to do is get this pull string and attach it to one of those pieces of coat hanger there that I have been using for poke throughs. Stick it through the hole. This little piece of coat hanger. Always got to have a Leatherman Gerber tool or some kind of multi-tool. Right? All right, pull string. This isn't really a hefty pull. I mean, the hole's right there. There's not a lot of stuff obstructing it, so I'm not really tying these on like I would a cable pull. You know, if I was pulling cable through something, I would be tying knots around this and doing it how I do it in the instructional video. But this isn't super difficult, and it would just be a pain kind of taking it off. So I'm going to stick it up here in this hole. And then the hole goes into the attic. So let's go up into the attic. All right, so coming up into the attic. It's a really nice day outside, so fortunately it's not too hot in the attic. A little warm. I'd say it's about 80 degrees up here. Well, maybe 85 as soon as I get up to the top. Again, don't judge my attic. It's just, you know, storage. So out here, I want to make sure I step on the cross joists so I don't go through the ceiling. And there's my little stick, my little coat hanger that I use. I'm trying to navigate in here. And here's my pull string. Coming up through that hole. Now, there's a bunch of insulation in the way and all kinds of other things. It's blown stuff. I got tons of insulation all over the place. But I'll just, once I'm done, I've got some spray caulking, and I'm going to fill all these holes so I don't get any drafts or bugs or anything in there. So now this string is definitely coming from my basement all the way to the attic. And I'm going to set this so I can fish it out. Some gappage up there. Might need to spray caulk. But I can go out one of these sides here. Just siding right there. And probably go out here. And right up there with the cable and send it out to the, ooh, nice cool breeze. Send it out to the Starlink dish. So I'm going to do this for a little bit and then we'll come back and show a little bit more. All right, before I pull this cable, a couple things I want to be concerned with. Not huge concern, just a little bit of concern. First of all, this Starlink cable has a proprietary end. All right, see if you could see that. It looks like a little HDMI, but it is not an HDMI. Let me grab an HDMI real quick here and show you, give it a comparison. I might even have an HDMI mini on the wall of cables. Let's see if I have a mini, micro. There's a micro there. What's this? This is an HDMI micro. So here's an HDMI mini. And it looks kind of like that. Almost exactly like the HDMI. Here's the Starlink end. Here's an HDMI. And you can see the HDMI mini end. And here's a regular HDMI. So the HDMI mini end is just a little bit bigger. So I want to be really careful with this end. Now, this is the dish end, right? Got a little crook to it. It doesn't go quite straight down. It's meant to be angled a bit. But the reason I'm pulling from the inside out, most people would hook this up and pull the cables in, is the end of the Starlink. Let me get the router here and disconnect the Starlink end. The end in the router looks like this and is molded. So as you can imagine, this would be a kind of a pain in the butt to fish through a hole. You know, putting it in and getting it all. Well, I just don't want to do this. This is going to be a pain. So what I'm going to do is fish it from the inside out. And this is kind of weird because I'm going to have to go the entire cable pathway that I would if I was just setting it up straight, right? So I want to make sure I know how much cable I have so where I could put it. That's why I was looking at the route and what's the closest way to the dish. There's 75 feet of cable that comes with this. So I'm going to put this in on my pull string right there. And I want to make sure I protect the end, so I'm going to put a lot of tape around it. I still want to make sure it's small enough to get through the holes. I drilled, I think, 3/4 inch holes. It should be plenty small enough to get through the holes. And then I'll have the excess down here, and I'll pull as much as I need up there, and hopefully it won't be too hard. All right, so best laid plans, right? The holes that I drilled aren't big enough. I used a 3/4 inch bit, and apparently that end of that nugget is a little bit bigger than 3/4 inch. So I already have an access hole from the satellite, that's current satellite, the Viasat that's here. That satellite is 2 coax cables coming in. So I'm just going to go ahead and use that same hole and get my pull string off. One of the tricks I use is a Fat Max for pulling cable. Well, if you're someplace and you need to keep tension on the cable, I just wrap it around the Fat Max, keeps tension on it, It actually pulls a little bit. So when I am sticking the cable in the hole, as I'm feeding it through, it's actually getting pulled. The Fat Max pulls the pull string as I push it through. So instead of like trying to trying to push a rope, right? Instead of trying to push a rope, there's some tension on it. I push it a little bit, it pulls a little bit, I push it. That's my helping hand when I'm pulling cable. So anyway, back to the saga at hand. So the holes are too small. That nugget end is big. Let me show you what it looks like with the tape and everything on it. I actually did tape it up quite well. I didn't put a lot of tape on the front or on the big side here, but just keeping the knot in the groove and trying all my cable pulling skills here. It wasn't going through that hole. So you know what? I have an access hole back here. And the place looks like a wreck right now. But I have an access hole right here where these cables go through out to the outside. And I can shove them out and I can see the hole in there. So I'm going to put the Starlink through that. Just going to attach it on the outside. I've got some clips I can put in. And that cable's rated to be outside. It's UV protected and whatnot. So we're going to try this. It's a little bit easier. I wasn't going to mess with that too much because I don't like messing with the outside of the house, penetrations from the outside to the inside. But it looks like it's going to be easier, quicker, and shorter cable path. So we'll give that a shot, see how it works. All right, so I got the end out. Go outside real quick and see what this is like. The end went through pretty easily. There's already a big old hole in the wall where the existing coax came in, so I didn't really have to drill or chip away any more brick. But you can see big hole there. You see the hole? Yeah, and the cable's coming through. So now what I'm going to do is I have to get the cable up to the roof. So I'm going to get this pull string and connect the pull string to the end of that cable, or to the piece of pull string that's already on there. This piece, and then I'm going to get some kind of weight, rubber ball or something, and throw it up, or maybe a big 1/2-inch nut. Throw it up so the cable or the pull string lands up there, and then I could just pull it up. I'll pull out some cable here, enough to pull it up. And then I have a grounding wire that goes to the ground there, and it goes up to the top. And my whole roof is grounded. I've got spikes up there. You'll probably see them later. But that grounding wire goes all the way up. I'll just attach that cable right to the grounding wire. Should be fine. All right, so again, I figured I'd use the right tool for the job. So I've got to get the pull string up to the roof. I was thinking about tying something and throwing it, but I thought that might fall down and it would be kind of a pain. So I have my little cable fisher here. It's a little dart with some cable line on it. Just shoot. So I'm going to go up to the roof with the cable fisher and shoot the dart down with the string on it. Go back down, attach the pull string, come back up and reel it in. All right, so here I am up on the roof. A little high up here. That's okay. Hopefully I don't die. And you can see the white string down there. So I'm just going to get my little cable fisher here. Pull out some string. See if I can give this a little shot. Oh, the wind's starting to blow. I need to have some Hawkeye action here. Aim down the road. Oh, this is kind of comfy. Take it off safe. Woo, it's way out there. So now I'll leave this right up here. Come back up. Watch the spikes. Those are the grounding spikes for lightning. They go all through the roof. Go back down, we'll attach it, come back up and reel back in. All right, so I'm getting ready to pull a cable. One thing I want to do is before I actually start pulling, I only have about 5 or 6 feet sticking out of the wall. So before I actually start pulling, I'm going to pull out a good bit, probably to the fence over here. So when I get it up, the cable goes right up to the roof, and I'm not trying to pull around a corner. So if I'm trying to pull up and the cable's coming out this way, it's going to put a lot of stress on the cable. So right now, real quick, I'm just going to pull straight out. Try not to get it in any Henry droppings. Henry's favorite place to go is out here and getting bound up on something. So this is why we want to pull out. If I was on the roof, I'd be coming up and down and be a pain. So I don't want to do that. So let's see what it's getting bound up on. It's getting bound up on Henry's bed. Yeah, just a kink in the cable. It's okay. Unkink the cable real quick. Can't tell you how much fun this is with a camera in one hand. So I pull it, making sure it doesn't get the kinky, making sure I don't step in poo. All right, so I've got the end here, it's still all taped up with the string on it. Should have enough to get up to the roof. Here is the end of my pull string, and it is attached to that little dart. I don't know if you could see the little fishing line filament. It's going all the way up there. You can barely see it. But we're going to go up on the roof, and I'll get back on the roof and reel her in. Hopefully that's enough line. I'm on the fishing line. So I'll see you back on the roof. All right, here we are walking up the roof. There's my little gun. So I got to reel this in, but this requires two hands, so I'll be right back. All right, so I have the cable up. I just kind of anchored it off to one of my lightning stakes there. I'll get this pull string out of the way, and then what I'm going to do is bring up a dish, anchor the dish, put the mount on for the dish, get the dish up, anchor this cable, put the cable in the dish, start tying it off all the way down, and I'll tie it off really good so if I accidentally yank on it, it won't yank the cable out of the dish. That'll be about it. It's in the wall. It's going to be tied up to the roof here, to the dish. I just got to find someplace good to mount it, pretty much anywhere in the wood, I guess, and seal it so it doesn't leak, and then I'll be good, and then I'll have internets. All right, so been on the roof for a little while. Got the dish all mounted. Let's use a satellite dish mounting system. Put it on there. Drill a little hole through the dish. Made sure there was no wiring going through there. Wire was out. And got it all in, tie wrapped to this cable on the line. Tie wrapped it down the side, just kind of hung my head over and did it all. I'm gonna go finish tie wrapping it and then put through the hole, get dishy sparked up here again, let it do its thing, and fill that hole in the side of the house, put some caulk in there, some fire stop, some of the outdoor fire stop on the outside, and then I will be done. It will be all good to go. Now it's just time for the cleanup. So hopefully this has been entertaining. Got a little dishy action going on, and I'll post this maybe on YouTube or Facebook, and if this helps somebody else out mounting their dish, good. If it doesn't, at least I didn't fall off the roof.